Charles Dickens tells the story about an old miser that was sitting in his house, and he was thinking about how much money he had, and he was thinking how much more money he would have if somehow he could get rid of his partner. And he began to muse and think about how he could murder this partner and all of the things, and he was in the midst of this reverie about how he was going to get rid of his partner when his little daughter came in. And when she looked at his face, she turned white, and she stopped in the middle of her tracks, and she slowly backed outside of the room. And the old miser, he couldn't believe it. He said, "Do you think that my face was showing what my thoughts were?" And he thought about it for a while, and he realized, yeah, that he had been thinking very ugly thoughts about murdering his partner. And he thought about it, and he felt really anguished about it. And so he got down on his knees, and he prayed to his God, and he asked his God to forgive him. And he prayed for a long, long time. And then he got up, and he got back in his chair, and he was sitting there in his chair when his little daughter came back in. And it appeared that she'd forgotten all about the previous experience, because she immediately jumped into his lap. And when she jumped in his lap, she said, "Daddy, won't you keep being just like you are now? You know, when I came in before, there was something about you that scared me to death, and I like you the way you are now. So, Daddy, will you please try to keep being like you are now?" And that was a story that told us that what our thoughts are, what we think about, and how we act, and what's going on in our heads will show in our behavior. And so we need to be concerned about our thoughts, because as we think in our heads, so are we. And so my hope is that as I continue to live my life, I'll do it in a way that I will let my thoughts be open and pure and honest and faithful, and that I will not be looking at ways that I might destroy another human being. And I'm praying that some of you would do that. I know that many of the inmates I used to work with needed to pray this kind of prayer, that God would forgive them for the hate that they have in their lives. And I discovered that if you ask him, if you ask the Lord, he'll do it. He'll get rid of all those hate and all that feeling that you have inside of you. So I'm asking you this morning to think about ways that you can turn your life around by asking your Heavenly Father to forgive you. May the good Lord bless you today.